Hello and welcome everybody. Today is the second day of Yantra 2020. I hope you all had a good time yesterday. To recap briefly, yesterday we had some track-wise sessions after inauguration on Iyengar Yoga and Kundalini Yoga, followed by followed by a plenary talk by Dr. B.N. Gangadhar. After that, we had one presentation, oral presentation schedule. After that, we ended the session with a practical session of yoga in COVID-19. Today is a great occasion for us because it is also the World Mental Health Day. I welcome you all once again on this occasion, and let us all take a pledge that we should all take care of our mental health as well as the mental health of our near and dear ones. Thank you. To show you the schedule of today briefly, first we have a poster presentation from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. We have our esteemed judges. Two of them are present here and one will be operating from online. After that, there will be track-wise session. There are two such sessions followed by the plenary session by Dr. Nagendra. After that, we'll move ahead to the research symposium. There will be 3 sessions in it. That will be the end of our session today. Without further ado, I would like to hand the poster presentation session over to my colleague, the Yoga Junior Scientific Officer, Dr. Prerna Bhargav, currently working in the Department of Integrative Medicine, NIMHANS. Over to you, Dr. Prerna.
So, I welcome you all. Myself, Dr. Prerna Bhargav, working as Scientific Officer in NIMHANS Integrative Center of Yoga under Department of Integrative Medicine. So, with immense pleasure, I welcome you all to this poster session today. I'm glad to announce that we received 70 abstracts for poster presentation all around the globe, out of which 36 were selected for poster presentation by the experts from a scientific committee. In today's session, we have 12 presentations. As in the view of time constraint, we couldn't have live presentations. So we have 3 minutes of recorded presentation in presenter's voice. So before starting the poster presentation, I would like to take the privilege to introduce our esteemed judges, Dr. Mariamma Philip and Dr. Ramjayam from NIMHANS and Dr. Gurudev from MD and IY, who will be joining us from there. So, brief introduction about our judges. Dr. Mariamma Philip, Madam is Associate Professor in Department of Biostatistics, NIMHANS. She has completed her MSc in Biostatistics from Christian Medical College, Vellore, and got her PhD in Biostatistics from NIMHANS, Bangalore. She is working in her field since long and holds an experience of 23 years. She joined NIMHANS in 2009. She has co-authored some 150 publications, and her areas of research interests are regression modeling, artificial neural networks, and incomplete data analysis. Our second judge, Dr. Ramjayam ji, is Scientist C in the Department of Neurophysiology, Center for Consciousness Studies, NIMHANS. He completed his MBBS from Medical College, Chennai in 2007 and obtained his PhD in 2018 on the topic Effect of Adam Yoga Therapy on Social Cognition in Schizophrenia from S. Vyasa University. He has worked as research officer for 3 years in Wellcome Trust DBT Alliance funded project and as PDF in another project from Wellcome Trust DBT Alliance. At present, he is co-PI of DST CSIR funded project at IISc, Spark wing of Brahma Kumaris. He has 9 publications in international index journals to his credit. Our third judge is Dr. Gurudev. He is assistant professor in Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga. After completing his formal education, Dr. Gurudev started his career in yoga in 2016 with PG diploma in yoga therapy. After completing this, he pursued MSc in yoga and obtained his PhD in yoga in 2016 from S. Vyasa University. And he did his PhD on the topic study of the effect of Anapanasati meditation technique through EPI parameters. He has given certification as International Yoga Teacher by World Yoga Alliance, Thailand in 2014. He holds an experience of 5 years in the field of yoga and has guided 4 PhD and 15 MSc students in his career, and he has 15 publications to his credit. So I welcome you all, our esteemed judges, to this poster session. I would like to ask Dr. Gurudev to kindly open his video so that we can see him. Dr. Gurudev, are you there? Yeah, Dr. Gurudev has joined us. Welcome, sir. So welcome to this poster competition event. So before starting the poster competition event, I would like to give a brief overview of the PPT, some few points for our audience as well as our judges. So all the PPTs contain pre-recorded audio in presenter's voice, and each presentation is tentatively of 3 minutes with 4 slides per presenter. And we have 3 awards, first prize and 2 runner-ups. And there are 5 criteria of judgment on which each presenter will be assessed: technical aspect and relevance to topic, clarity of slides, clarity of talk, overall aesthetic appeal, and time management. So with this brief introduction, now I start with the poster presentation session. First poster comes from Dr. Suchitra Patel. Her topic is Effect of Yoga Personality Development Camp on Triguna in Children.
Bangalore. I am very thankful for the organizers for giving me the opportunity to do the presentation. The topic of my presentation is Efficacy of Yoga Personality Development Camp on Trigunas of Children. The objective of the study was to comprehend the effect of Yoga Personality Development Camp on the Trigunas Sattva Rajas Tamas in the children. In this study, we carried out in a Jayagopal Garodia school and the personality development camp at Prashanti Kutiram, which was conducted for 10 days. And it was a pre-post design. 200 children were involved in the study. Age group of the children was 8 to 12 years. Experimental group children practiced integrated yoga module including yoga games and meditation. Control group children were under daily routine. The Sushruta Child Personality Inventory was administered before and after 10 days of the practices. Mann-Whitney test and Wilcoxon sign rank test were applied for checking the significance of the mean. Coming to the results, in the yoga group, Sattva increased significantly from 9.40 to 10.81, while Rajas decreased from 8.16 to 7.54, and Tamas decreased from 9.95 to 8.84. While in control group, Sattva-guna decreased from 10.26 to 10.08, and Rajas increased from 7.5 to 7.62, and Tamas increased from 9.65 to 9.72. You can look into the table which is showing the results. The conclusion of the study was, it showed that 10 days of yoga personality development camp have a significant effect on sattva, rajas and tamas in children when compared to the control group of the age group of 8 to 12 years. This may point out towards the promotion of positive health and prevention of psychological disorders in children, which is very, very much needed in the present era. Thank you. These are some references of the studies. Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you.
Our next presentation is from Professor Melissa O'Shea. She is presenting on yoga complements cognitive behavior therapy as an adjunct treatment for anxiety and depression, qualitative findings from a pragmatic mixed method study.
Namaste. I begin by expressing my gratitude to the organising committee for Yantra for the opportunity to share our findings at this important conference and for their flexibility to adapt to this online format in these anxious and uncertain times. This research examines yoga as a complement to cognitive behaviour therapy for anxiety and depression. Completing my yoga teacher training as a clinical psychologist, I began to be interested in how yoga could augment psychological therapies, such as cognitive behaviour therapy. Research in this area is in its infancy, and we thank the early work already undertaken, which we have built on. Findings in this e-poster describe the qualitative arm of a mixed methods pragmatic trial that we undertook in a regional mental health clinic in Australia, examining yoga as an adjunct to cognitive behaviour therapy for individuals with anxiety and depression. We were interested in the lived experience of participants who participated in the combined treatment via semi-structured interviews and asked them about significant ways that they changed and how these were important to them through the combined protocol. The CBT was in the group format over 8 weeks. The therapeutic yoga program was a combination of 8 weeks of group yoga along with individualised home practice. The program was designed according to the yoga lineage of Krishnamacharya and Desikachar and followed the consensus guidelines for yoga with anxiety and depression established by Domanicor and others. Thematic analysis was used to complete the qualitative inquiry. Thematic analysis into the lived experiences of the 27 participants who experienced yoga alongside CBT identified 3 primary and 9 sub-themes. In the first, they talked about the intuitive appeal of the combined therapies and that it potentially enhanced the clinical benefits received, and that it created a dance between the two, where one enhanced engagement in the other. They spoke of the complementary elements of the 2 therapies, focusing on the movement of the body with the breath in yoga, supporting mindfulness and the engagement in CBT strategies, as well as speaking of their engagement over time, ultimately leading to yoga being experienced as a new self-management tool for mental health. Overall, findings from this study indicate that adults with anxiety and depression experience a therapeutic yoga program as acceptable and complementary to a psychological treatment, in this case CBT. These findings suggest that therapeutic yoga may be a useful adjunct to other service provision in mental health services, and in fact may lead to enhanced clinical benefits. Again, thank you to the organising committee for allowing us to share these findings. Namaste.
Our next presenter is Dr. Laura Tolvanos-Rothschild. She is presenting on yoga, the SART model, and the self-regulatory mechanisms of well-being, a cross-cultural study of yoga practitioners and non-practitioners.
Namaste everyone, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to present. present our study titled Yoga, the SART Model and Self-Regulatory Mechanism of Well-Being, a cross-cultural study of yoga practitioner and non-practitioner. This is a collaborative study between Kaivaladam Yoga Institute, India and University of La Laguna, Spain. I am Dr. Laura Tolbaños from University of La Laguna and first author of this study. Dr. Prasida Menon is a research officer in psychology of Kaivaladam and co-author of this study. Mindfulness forms the core of numerous stress reduction interventions. The SART model explains self-regulatory mechanisms of well-being in mindfulness to the development of self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-trust. Self-regulation is also the foundation of the yoga action in health and well-being. Therefore, yoga has been proposed to optimize self-regulation in stress conditions. Our aims are to examine the role of yoga on this self-regulatory mechanism in Indian and Spanish sample, and testing the SART model to explain self-regulation in yoga. The study sample comprised 362 participants, yoga practitioners and non-practitioners, 197 Indian and 165 Spanish, who completed 4 tests of psychological variables related to SART abilities and a sociodemographic data and information related to yoga practice. One-way MANOVA was used to determine difference among yoga practice groups divided in non-practitioners, beginners, and long-term practitioners on the dependent variables. Two-way MANOVA was used to analyze the interaction between the two independent variables, yoga practice and sample, Indian and Spanish, on the dependent variables. Results indicate that body listening appears within 1 year of yoga practice in both samples. After 1 year of practice, both Indian and Spanish practitioners show a significant improvement in self-awareness, self-regulation, and self-acceptance. Graph 1 shows the difference between the groups of practice in the various dimensions of interoceptive awareness and difficulties in emotional regulation strategies. Graph 2 shows the difference in the multidimensional interoceptive awareness, difficulties in emotional regulation, decentering, and relational compassion total scores. No significant difference between Indian and Spanish yoga practitioners were found. Only Indian practitioners show a slightly better emotion regulation, emotional clarity, goal-directed behavior, and higher relational compassion. And Spanish sample show better emotional awareness and regulation strategies and higher perception of people's general feelings of compassion towards others. The improvement of these 3 abilities in both samples provides evidence of the self-regulatory mechanism of well-being in yoga practice in a cross-cultural context. This study enabled generation of hypotheses using the SART model in yoga research. Similar to mindfulness research, this model could serve as theoretical framework in yoga and well-being research in the future. Thanks for your attention.
Our next presentation is by Mrs. Malathi. She is presenting on effect of Kaya Kalp Yoga on key pro-inflammatory cytokines.
Be blessed by the divine. Good morning, everyone. This is Malathi, a PhD scholar from Department of Yoga for Human Excellence, World Community Service Center, Arya, Tamil Nadu. I'm going to talk about effect of Kaya Kalpa Yoga on key pro-inflammatory cytokines. It is well known that physical and mental stress have strong impacts on human immune system. Stressed individuals frequently get infections like common cold, bacterial and other viral diseases. Kaya Kalpa Yoga is an ancient Siddha practice given to the society in a simplified manner by Sri Vethathiri Maharishi. Sky system was systemized by Sri Vethathiri Maharishi for holistic well-being to lead a disease-free and blissful life with a balance of physical, mental and emotional health. The present study is It is well known that physical and mental stress have strong impacts on human immune system. Stressed individuals frequently get infections like common cold, bacterial and other viral diseases. Kaya Kalpa Yoga is an ancient Siddha practice given to the society in a simplified manner by Sri Vethathiri Maharishi. Sky system was systemized by Sri Vethathiri Maharishi for holistic well-being To lead a disease-free and blissful life with a balance of physical, mental, and emotional health. The present study is to examine the effect of Kaya Kalpa Yoga and simplified Kundalini Yoga meditation on cytokines, to compare the effect of physical exercise and Kaya Kalpa Yoga on modulation of key pro-inflammatory cytokines. To understand the same, the study was carried out in voluntary employees working in private organization at Gurgaon, Haryana, 3 months of Kaya Kalpa Yoga day-to-day official stress when compared to physical exercise. There are 2 groups, physical exercise group and Kaya Kalpa Yoga group, IL-13. Each participant also found to be reduced exercise or Kaya Kalpa Yoga for 45 minutes daily basis for 3 months. The Kaya Kalpa Yoga included Kaya Kalpa techniques, key meditations, and yogic exercises. The blood samples before and after interventions were collected. Kaya Kalpa Yoga practice reduced and pro-inflammatory cytokines like IL-8, IFN gamma, IL-17, and IL-13 measured by Sandwich ELISA. Key pro-inflammatory cytokines that are strongly linked to infectious disease, autoimmune diseases, and allergic diseases. Kaya Kalpa Yoga.
Still talking about the previous slide.
Our next presenter is Mr. Raju Roy, who is presenting on effect of Shitali and Shitkari Pranayama on heat stress management.
First of all, I would like to pay my gratitude to Nimhans Institute for selecting my paper. Myself, Raju Roy, I am PhD scholar of Ramakrishna Mission Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute. The name of my study, the effect of Shitali and Shitkari pranayamas on heat stress management. This study was done under the guidance of Dr. Uday Shankar Ray. Heat stress is a common problem, particularly in a tropical country like India. But now the question is how we get recovered from this condition. If we go through the ancient Hatha text, they are mentioned that Shitali and Shitkari pranayama help to reduce thirst sensation and giving the feeling of coolness. So the aim of the study to explore scientifically the effect of Shitali and Shitkari pranayamas on thirst sensation and heat stress management. Methodology. For this study, there were selected 2 sets of experiment. First set, subject practiced Shitali and Shitkari pranayama during heat exposure. Second set, they did not practice Shitali and Shitkari pranayamas. For this study, 5 parameters were selected. These are heart rate, oral temperature, skin temperature, body weight, and thirst sensation. Result. The graph shows that sweat loss significantly less in the first set compared to the second set. And on the other side, in thirst sensation, those are performing pranayama, their thirst sensation significantly decreased. And those are not performing pranayama, their thirst sensation significantly increased. So, overall picture is that in heat stress, the practice of Shitali and Shitkari pranayamas help to cope up heat stress by better control over thirst sensation and better conservation of body water. But in this experiment, on the other parameter, there doesn't have any significant differences. At last, in the conclusion, I can say that Shitali and Shitkari pranayamas very effective yogic practices for the combat with heat stress condition. So, what are the things mentioned in the ancient Hatha yogic text that is scientifically true? In the below, I mentioned few references. So, thank you so much to Nimhans Institute.
Next, Mr. Khairul Islam is presenting on yogic management of cumulative trauma disorder related pain in lower extremity.
Hi
I'd like to pay my gratitude to NIMHANS Bangalore for giving me an opportunity to present my paper. Myself, Mohammad Khairul Islam, MPhil scholar in yoga of Ramakrishna Mission, Vivekananda Educational and Research Institute, Belur Math, West Bengal. Now, I would like to present my topic, Yogic Management of Cumulative Trauma Disorder Related Pain in Lower Extremity under the guidance and supervision of Dr. Uday Shankar Ray, Department of Sports Science and Yoga. Background: cumulative trauma disorders developed by awkward posture, repetitive high-intensity work practices for a prolonged period in any work situation. Yoga has potential in pain management. In physiotherapy, some yogic postures are used for musculoskeletal pain management, but there are scanty literature on CTD-related pain management by yoga. The aim was to explore the possibility of yogic intervention in CTD management in lower extremity at subclinical level. In methodology, purposive sampling was adopted. 85 male healthy workers selected from a leather goods making factory. Subjects with subclinical pain without having severe pain were selected by functional assessment scale of Alina Health Pain Assessment Scale questionnaire methods. The pain measurement by visual analog scale, height, body weight, work experience in year, straight leg rise in both hip joints by goniometer, degrees of angle. 7 joints per region selected for lumbar region, both hip joint, both knee joint, both ankle joint. There were imparted for 30 minutes yoga training, 15 yogasanas and 1 pranayama for 5 days in a week for 21 days. Their baseline pain score of different joints and regions were taken as before training. Recording were repeated at first, second and third weekend. Statistical analysis done by JET test. In results, intensity of pain in different joint regions was higher according to the following order. This was due to prolonged, forceful, repetitive work, awkward posture. All the joint regions have shown significant reduction in pain score in every way. In figure 1, there were significant reduction in pain score in all regions compared to respective baseline. This reduction was progressive in nature. In figure 2, the straight leg rise test by goniometer measurement, the functional range of movements in both hip joints has also progressively improved in highly significant way. The range of movement increased progressively through second and third week. In conclusion, yogic practices have the potential to reduce the subclinical CTD pain, and it is possible to reduce or prevent its further progression. Thank you.
Next presentation is by Ms. Kankan Gulati, who is going to present on how people suffering from neuropsychiatric disorders perceive prayer.
A very good evening to all of you. My name is Kankan Gulati. The title of my poster presentation is Since Ancient Times, Prayer has been used as an intervention to promote good health and remove illness. Many religions believe that prayer helps to cleanse the mind, while others believe that prayer helps in healing. A study conducted by Harvard Medical School in the year 2004 found that 70% of the respondents found prayer to be helpful. Out of the 35% of the respondents, statistics for the Indian population. The aim of the study was to investigate how people diagnosed with neuropsychiatric disorders perceive prayer. This is a cross-sectional survey for which a 20-item feedback form was developed in English and then translated to Hindi and Kannada. Patients aged between 18 to 70 years, diagnosed with any psychiatric or neurological conditions, seeking treatment at NIMHANS, having the ability to read and write English, Hindi, or Kannada, and willing to participate in the study were recruited. Those with severe cognitive decline, poor insight and judgment, or having any history of pervasive intellectual disability were excluded. Data was analyzed using IBM SPSS Statistics 16. The number of male respondents was slightly more as compared to the number of female respondents. More than 75% of the respondents were Hindus, followed by Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, and Buddhists. More than one-third of the respondents did not want to disclose their diagnosis. Maximum number of respondents were those diagnosed with mood disorders, followed by anxiety spectrum disorders, schizophrenia, personality disorders, ADHD, adjustment disorders, sleep disorders, and neurological disorders. More than 70% of the respondents believed in prayer, and females believed in it more as compared to males. More than 65% of the respondents said that they pray, and the percentage of females who prayed was much higher as compared to the percentage of males. When asked if prayer can help in improving their disease condition, 61.6% said yes, they believe that prayer can help in improving their disease condition. Therefore, we can conclude that more than 70% of the patients diagnosed with various neuropsychiatric disorders believe in prayer, and more than 65% actually pray. The number of females who believe in prayer and pray is more than the number of males. We recommend that the role of prayer as an add-on therapy can be explored further. Thank you.
Next presentation is by Mrs. Chandana N, who is going to present on Triguna, Anasakti, Personality and Subjective Well-being, a comparison between community and clinical samples.
Greetings all, myself Chandana. I'm working as a lecturer in clinical psychology in PSG IMSR, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu. I'm going to present a study titled Triguna, Anasakti, Personality and Subjective Well-being, a comparison between community and clinical samples. The study was guided by Dr. Jyotsna Agarwal, Dr. Mahendra P. Sharma and Dr. Pratima Murthy. Conceptualizing alcohol dependence using the Indian context is a less explored area. In this study, a comparison is held between males with and without alcohol dependence on the variables Triguna, Anasakti, personality and subjective well-being using a cross-sectional survey method. Triguna is an Indian model of personality consisting 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, and Anasakti or non-attachment is a subjective quality of ease and balance. Males between the age of 18 to 50 years and a minimum of 10 years of formal education were selected for the study. From the community, 84 males who scored below 8 in the audit measure, which is a screening tool for alcohol dependence, were recruited. For the clinical group, 30 males who are dependent on alcohol were recruited from the Center for Addiction Medicine in NIMHANS. Approval from the Institute Ethics Committee was obtained before conducting the study, and informed consent was taken from all the participants. All the statistical analysis was done using SPSS 20.0 version. The results of the study imply that the clinical and community groups are significantly different in the following variables. The clinical group shows higher tamas and high neuroticism, and lower on sattva, conscientiousness, extraversion, life satisfaction and positive affect. The community group, on the other hand, is high on sattva and high on conscientiousness, extraversion, life satisfaction and positive affect. It is also low on tamas as well as neuroticism. Rajas and Anasakti are not significantly different among the groups. As explained earlier, the men with alcohol dependence had higher tamas and neuroticism. The characteristics of tamas, like inactivity, depression and uncertainty, along with tendency to be sensitive to negative emotions explained by neuroticism, could be the factors that lead to alcohol dependence in the clinical group. On the other hand, characteristics of sattva such as equanimity, peace, balance, along with that life satisfaction, positive affect, could be the protective factors against alcohol dependence for the community group. Another interesting factor is that in the modern lifestyle, materialistic attitudes, passion, attachment and possessions are considered as a normal state of functioning. Hence, Rajas and Anasakti are similar among the groups. Overall, as per the Triguna model, alcohol dependence can be understood by increased level of tamas and decreased sattva, and also along with the other factors of increased neuroticism, negative affect and lower conscientiousness, lower positive affect and life satisfaction. Thank you.
So our next presentation is on Simplified Kundalini Yoga improves behavioral and motor skills in children with attention deficit hyperactive disorder by Ms. Jayanti R.
Happy day, one and all. I am Jayanti, PhD research scholar from Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. First, I thank to the dignitaries of Yantra 2020 for selecting my article about Simplified Kundalini Yoga improves behavioral and motor skills in children with ADHD, and my research guide Dr. G.R. Valliammal, WCSC Vision Sky Research Center, Aliyar, Tamil Nadu. Next. Research background. Reviewing the scenario in our country needs professionals' attention for ADHD population. The prevalence rate of ADHD was found to 3.66% among school-going children in a part of rural India. ADHD is one of the most common childhood chronic and neurodevelopmental disorder. ADHD contains a combination of persistent problems such as difficulty sustaining attention, hyperactivity, and impulsive behavior. Yoga can aid to create a healthy mind-body connection, improving their coordination, behavior, moods, physical activity, and social skills. The aim of the present study was to observe the potential benefit of enriching motor skills and the effect of Sky Yoga training on the severity of hyperactive in children with high function of attention deficit. This is a research flowchart. Research methodology. This study was subject to 30 special children with ADHD were selected from Coimbatore district between the age group ranged from 8 to 15 years. A 12 weeks training program schedule below mentioned. To find out the effect of Sky Yoga practice for body flexibility measured by sit and reach test, breath holding time measured by respiratory exercise kit, a standardized questionnaire to know their motor skills, activities of daily living, domestic, social, violent and destructive behavior levels by dependent variables. Next. Results. From the pre and post t-test paired correlations of experimental and control groups, we infer that Sky Yoga practices will increase the behavioral and motor skills. Thus, we concluded that there is a significant improvement by the ADHD children after practicing the Sky Yoga. Suggestions. Sky Yoga practice can be added as part of physical education in all the schools. For the continuous improvement, the government can recruit a yoga teacher permanently. Next. Conclusion. Teaching yoga to the children is that only beneficial to their physical development, it is also crucial for their emotional development and overall well-being. Based on the discussion of the results, increased body flexibility can improve physical fitness, muscular strength, endurance, and agility. Vedatri Maharishi quotes, "Yoga is a well-balanced and perfect process for success and peace in life." Thank you for listening with patiently to all.
Our next presenter is Mrs. Chaya Kurade, who is presenting on feasibility of using counseling techniques from Ramayana for managing negative emotions and anecdotal review and analysis.
This is Chaya Santam Kurade, PhD scholar from the Department of Psychiatric Social Work. I am presenting a paper on feasibility of using counseling techniques from Ramayana for managing negative emotions and anecdotal review and analysis. Starting with the background, Indian philosophy has depicted various instances in scriptural texts where psychotherapeutic and counseling concepts could play an important role. Literature indicated that ancient Indian texts are rich in knowledge and that there is a need for the cross-cultural adaptation. It would be easy for a therapist to use a specific metaphors that are already existing instead of developing a new one that may not be culturally suitable. Therefore, the aim of the paper is to specifically review the Ramayana so as to identify the counseling framework to help in managing the negative emotions. In the methodology, the author has reviewed the Valmiki Ramayana and each khanda has multiple chapters. It's been reviewed for the anecdotal stories depicting the counseling techniques. These chapters were examined thoroughly to identify the situations where counseling was provided by the first and the second author. The other co-author, who was expert in the Sanskrit, verified the Sanskrit translation of the situation where the counseling was provided. Another remaining author has helped in forming the conceptualization of the paper on concising and coming to the consensus opinion on the anecdotal situation should be considered to the review or for an analysis. The result shows that the reviews on Ramayana brought out the number of instances where the characters in the scripture counsel others for managing their latest negative emotions. A few representative anecdotes from the Ramayana which reflect the negative emotions such as anger, lust, depression, fear and anxiety is being depicted in table. As we could see, the emotions are given in the table and anecdotes are the particular situation which has been taken out from Ramayana given in the particular khandas, and the techniques which has been considered to be the parallel to the conventional therapy. This table would give an idea about how emotions are being regulated in a particular Ramayana and how the persons are being counseled in the scriptures, and that could be used as one of the techniques in the therapeutic situation. As we could see, the negative emotions in ancient Indian scriptures are dealt through various interventions related to dharma, karma, spirituality, as compared to the concept propounded by the new school of psychology. As we could see, the Indian texts such as Ramayana and traditional concepts quoted in their texts can also be applicable for counseling, and this is need for the cross-cultural adaptation for establishing the psychological counseling techniques based on socio-cultural menu of a client. Thank you.
So next presentation comes from Dr. Kiran Yendre, who is presenting on development and validation of nasal cycle assessment tool.
Myself, Dr. Kiran, and I am MPH final year student of Savitribai Phule Pune University. The following study is development and validation of nasal cycle assessment tool. Alternate shift in nostril dominance is termed as nasal cycle, which is ideally synchronized with various physiological and psychological phenomena. Yoga considers nasal cycle as one of the most important breath analysis technique, and thus it needs to be accurately measured, understanding its role in health and disease. Available assessment technologies allow one-time accurate measurement of nasal cycle, but continuous assessment of its patterns and periodicity is a research gap. The current study intends to develop and validate an instrument for continuous assessment of nasal cycle periodicity and its patterns through temperature sensors. The study ran in 3 stages. First, development of tool with DS18B20 temperature sensors, Wi-Fi featured data logger and USB featured power source. Second is validation of tool, which was practiced as per Euramed guidelines for its accuracy, repeatability, reproducibility and linearity parameters. Also, inter-rater and manual to instrumental concordance was verified in 15 healthy individuals. Third is method development study, for which a cross-sectional study on 28 healthy and 28 acute respiratory tract infection individuals was conducted, and also a 7 nights, that is 48 hours characterization study was done. First 2 figures show the final prototype of the tool and participant undergoing the assessment. Results of the study are the sensor was precise, manual to instrumental and inter-rater concordance showed good agreement. Right nostril was dominant in 20 out of 28 healthy participants and left was dominant in 22 out of 26 ARTI participants at the time of assessment. Night characterization study revealed variation in nasal cycle across the duration of continuous measurements of 7 nights for 48 hours with significantly higher right nostril periodicity. Figure number 4 shows the average, minimum, maximum values of temperature of left and right nostril air, whereas figure number 5 and 6 show the nasal cycle pattern and periodicity for 5 minutes in apparently healthy and ARTI individuals. Figure number 7 shows one-night study for 8 continuous hours of nasal cycle measurement. Boxes showing the change in nasal dominance. Figure number 8 shows duration of nasal dominance for 7 nights. And 9 shows the data output file wherein TXT is converted into Excel and graph is produced. This study provides mechanical instructions for construction of a simple, rugged, feasible, portable logging device with its analysis plan, which allows the conjecture of few meaningful nasal cycle parameters. The study revealed left nostril dominance in ARTI individuals and right nostril dominance during sleep in healthy individuals. Further characterization of nasal cycle in health and disease is necessary in larger samples.
So coming to the end of this poster presentation, our last presentation is by Mr. Dayanidhi Ji, who is presenting on adjuvant yoga therapy reduces perceived stress in patients of psoriasis, a pilot randomized control trial.
Namaste. Myself, Dayanidhi, working as assistant professor at Center for Yoga Therapy Education and Research, CITER of Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry. My guide, Dr. Ananda Balayogi Bhavanani, director of CITER. My co-guide, Dr. Meena Ramanathan, Deputy Director of CITER, and Dr. Srikanth, Professor, Department of Dermatology, Mahatma Gandhi Medical College, Sri Balaji Vidyapeeth, Pondicherry. Title of the study: Adjuvant Yoga Therapy Reduces Perceived Stress in Patients of Psoriasis, a pilot randomized control trial. Background of the psoriasis is an immune-mediated disease, and various studies shows that stress appears to be an important precipitating factor in the development and exacerbation of the disease. Various studies shows adjuvant yoga therapy alleviates stress in normal subjects and also patients with different conditions. To the best of our knowledge, psoriasis and yoga therapy, there is no much studies in that circle. Aim is to find that yoga therapy on perceived stress scale in patient with psoriasis. Methodology: data of 20 patients were randomized into 2 groups, one group getting standard medical care, another group getting the yoga therapy. PSS will be recorded before and after the study period. Result: there were statistically significant reductions in both groups, which was represented in table 2 and figure 1. Yoga group have more significant P less than 0.01 than the control group P less than 0.05. Significant reduction between the control and yoga group P less than 0.05 were found after their investigation period. Conclusion: these preliminary findings suggested that yoga may offer a safe and effective intervention for reducing perceived stress in patients of psoriasis. It is more helpful for psychophysiologic disorders like psoriasis patients and improve the psychoneuroimmunoendocrinology. Yoga may be considered as a positive adjuvant therapy for those experiencing stress. Thank you.
So with this, we come to an end of the poster presentation session today. And I would like to thank all the participants and congratulate all the presenters for having made successful presentation and making this poster presentation event a success. Thank you all. Now I hand over to Dr. Sanchari to take over the program further.